A few moments later.
Is this a squirrel?
Don't be like that guy. In this video, I'm going to give you a simple strategy anyone can use to start threat hunting today.
You serious, Clark?
Linux, Windows, Mac, desktop, server, I don't care. It works across all of them. So first, let's get it out in the open. Threat hunting is hard. There are a few common hurdles to overcome. One, it's a deeply technical space wrapped up inside of another deeply technical space. This means that once you feel like you have it figured out, threat hunting will knock you down a few pegs. Two, the advice that you find online isn't pragmatic. I mean, it's hard to find advice that you can take and directly apply to your environment or systems. Three, many of the threat hunting guides are actually white papers created by vendors. They are useful, don't get me wrong, they help, but at the core of the how-to is an advertisement for their technology. This can make it hard for you to take your lessons learned and deploy them. Finally, choosing where to start the threat hunt is the hardest part. That first step can be a doozy. As if it wasn't already hard enough, you can mess this whole thing up before you begin by picking the wrong starting point. The first step is to become familiar with attacker TTPs. TTPs are tactics, techniques, and procedures, the real attacker thingies that they do. So I was editing this together and I just realized I didn't explain this very well. Tactics, techniques, and procedures, they have a hierarchy. Tactics are on top, techniques are in the middle, procedures are on the bottom. The tactics are like your strategy, your techniques are more general skills, and then the procedure is the step-by-step an attacker would use to carry out a very specific attack. You can learn about common TTPs by spending some quality time with the MITRE ATT&CK framework. In the MITRE ATT&CK framework, there are 15 categories, but only a few of them you need to pay attention to right now. Those are execution, persistence, privilege escalation, and lateral movement. Why these ones? Because these categories have TTPs in them that are easier to find through telemetry and log analysis. The other categories are still very valuable, but as a starting point for today, it's hard to beat these four. A lot of threat hunting is actually just looking for weird things. Threats and risks are usually anomalous activities, and the only way to spot an anomaly is to have an understanding of what is normal. So what does this look like? How do you do this? Let me give you an example. It'll help guide your imagination, but ultimately, you have to take this idea and make it your own. So in this example, let's say your organization has an application that runs across several servers. You should be getting familiar with the behavior of the admins of those servers, as well as the operation of the application on that server. This could mean talking to the people who maintain it, if it's not already you, or it can mean regularly reviewing logs to identify normal patterns. I would approach this in much the same way as if I was told, you are now responsible for the operation of the servers and the apps. I would be asking questions like, how often do you log onto these servers? Do you have sudo properly configured? Do you have monitoring? How often are these patched? When? Because the answer to these questions are a major component of your baseline. Now you're ready to rock and roll. Armed with the knowledge of an attacker's TTPs and a baseline understanding of your systems, the hunt begins. Since I don't know what technology or security solutions you have in your environment, I'll try to stay general and give some broad advice here. Just know, if you have a SIEM, a SOAR, EDR, XDR, blah blah blah, consider those tools as fair game. They are in play now. Just don't rely on those tools 100%. They are only as effective as the humans who design them and the people who implement them. They don't know your environment like you do. Also, don't make the assumption that A, the logs are getting created like you think they are. Go and confirm that they are. And B, don't assume that your security tooling is picking up and shipping those logs for your analysis. Get on these systems and poke around, or employ some scripting of your own to remotely gather this data. Now, if you're still having a hard time getting started, take a look at a recent report on attacker behaviors. CrowdStrike's Overwatch report was recently released, and while it's filled with all sorts of wonderful info, I won't cover that in this video. Let's just zoom in on one of the key takeaways from this report. Valid accounts and command and scripting interpreters are really hot right now. Knowing this, you can start searching your logs for things like PowerShell running at odd hours or under users that don't belong there. You now know the 3 simple steps you can take to begin threat hunting today. They are learning about the TTPs you might expect an attacker to use in your environment, establishing a baseline of normal so you can spot the weird stuff more easily, And then hands-on exploration of server and desktop telemetry, security tooling, and other data sources looking for those TTPs. Remember, if you feel stuck and you don't feel like you know what to do first, take a look at a report like the CrowdStrike Overwatch or the Verizon Data Breach Report to give you ideas on what to look for. Threat hunting's not easy, I get it. You watch this whole video, now go and put this into action today. Try and do your best to see what you can figure out. If you have more questions, come back, let me know. And if you're looking for another video that's like this, check out the next one that's coming right up.